Hi my loves, welcome back to Soften Monday Yapps. This is episode 3. I'm geeked. I'm ready to geeked. I'm geeked. We made it to episode 3. Happy Monday, you guys. You know how it goes. We're gonna spend this time to catch up, reflect, set intentions, grow together. I know I'm a little late. I've even missed the natural light. I am a little late, but we are still intentional about what we say we're gonna do. So even though I'm late, I'm here and clocking in for softness, Monday softness, and some yaps with y'all. And this kind of domino effects into not forcing anything, because if it feels rushed, it feels forced. So you know what to stay away from, because your nervous system, you're very connected to it now because you're slowed down. We're not looking for perfection. We're just looking to be our perfectly flawed self. You know what I'm saying? That's the perfection for me. I've written notes because really I'm really enjoying these Soften Monday Yapps. So I'm writing notes so that I don't forget anything and leave out anything. So let's get ready. Let's wash my face as we catch up. And honestly, I think there is a reason, a lesson and a reason on why I'm late today and why I still pitched. There is a lesson in that. We're not rushing. I was just watching I'll see if I can tag it. I was watching a video on IG this morning where this lady was talking about what is real wealth. What does real wealth look like? And that's having access to your time and never really being in a rush. And for me, a couple of months, almost a year, that's what I've been trying to do intentionally, is not rush. And that was part of even regulating my nervous system, just not rushing and having access to being present and breathing and, taking in everything step by step as you go through it. Of course, we're gonna wash my face as we do this, but I'm wearing this on this hand for the next couple of days because this tattoo is fairly new. So I'm not trying to get it wet. So I'm gonna put this glove on. This is the gloves I use when I mix my lip balms. So they are coming in quite handy. Yesterday, everything shower, I used this throughout the whole shower, and there's no water that came to the ink. You guys know the drill. We're gonna catch up as I do my skincare. I still haven't gotten time to go fetch my syrup, so there's that. There is that. So wash my face. This week, the energy really feels very grounded, very reflective, really being present in pretty much where we find ourselves in this journey, where I'm finding myself in this journey. I'm speaking more in a collective tone, but more of where I find myself. This week is feeling more transformative, reflective. Last week's energy was pretty much giving clarity, truth, hard truth, things you have to face, accept, and that's not really only a contrast from last week, but really an evolution, movement. It's a nice flow from last week to this week, kind of showing that the work we put intentions towards last week, we really did some significant work towards it, right? The stuff that was put to our attention last week, we really did some significant work towards that. You know, I always come back here after my tarot reading and my morning alignment practices for the beginning of the week. So I have to say my reading for this sunrise was quite honestly beautiful. Quite honestly beautiful. For this journey that we've been on for the past couple of years since like my awakening started, honestly, everything like came with, you need to let go of this, you need to stop doing this, you need to consider this, let go of these, no, this is not good for you, no, this is. But it had a lot of like change, it had a lot of tower moments, it had a lot of chaos, and it was a lot. It was quite a lot. And honestly, whenever I do my own readings, I kind of almost expect that in my readings, just a little bit of the, you can get this, or this is where you're going, but you can, but I can give you, but, you know what I'm saying? But like this week's reading was really, it was that girl. It was that girl. It was nice vibe, soft girl, energy, all the way. Literally all the way. So, you know, last week's energy really has forced me to transform, and it is what I said in last week's video, and I think I didn't realize how right and on point I kind of was, because I had to like get to a point where I had to ask myself, like, who am I becoming? What am I building? What are my interests? What do I like? What do I not like? What kind of life do I want to live? What do I want to accept? What do I want to allow? What I don't want to allow? Do you know what I'm saying? Just kind of doing like an audit of like your life. Like, what am I no longer available to? You know what I'm saying? Because this comes, like this journey comes with like I said, a lot of shitting. And the best way to do the shitting is from alignment and not from them pushing, like the universe pushing you, because then that's like tower moment on. But you know, it has really been that journey that where I am now, all of that kind of makes sense. It's like now that I look at it, hindsight is 2020 for real. I see it coming like that way. Do you know what I'm saying? And I'm realizing something. I'm really realizing something now. Let me just pack away some of the stuff as I go. I'm realizing something is that these changes, this growth, it really isn't like, it doesn't come as you expect. Like, you know, when you're about to become your dream self, when you're about to, or you're aligning to yourself, you really think it's gonna be this loud like announcement, like the world is gonna like pause and like everybody's gonna be like in awe of like this new you that you just transformed into. But like I'm realizing that like it's very quiet, it's very soft, it's very intentional, it's very, I'm choosing my peace, I'm choosing my own happiness, I'm becoming more disciplined in the things I really love doing and the things I'm passionate in, you know, just taking time out, resting intentionally, being intentional about like each and everything you're doing, protecting your energy, refining your crafts by consistently doing them. Like even now with YouTube, I feel like I'm really enjoying it now more, because I'm not feeling like the pressures that I was like placing on myself on needing to have my page this way, needing to already like be there when I just started. And I've got to be honest, that gives me so much release. It feels like a weight lifted off of my shoulders, because I'm really connected and present in my crafts and what I'm building and in this journey that I'm on. Like I wanted to create this platform so that there's like a community that I have and that the next person has, because like the world is very template, you know what I'm saying? And people like us that are not really template, you kind of find yourself lost and you don't know where your community is because everything almost hits but it's not right there, right, it's not really right, the right thing, but it almost hits. You almost get your friends but they're not really fully there. It's just like there's always a little bit. And that's exactly what like my reading was about. Like the theme of my reading was about rebuilding, slow and steady, really being intentional about the type of life that you want to build. You know what I'm saying? And really being there for the step by step process until you build that trust, you build that community, until you get that objective, that little sisterhood that we eventually coming into building. I pulled a lot of cards that reflected soft intuition, building wealth, really being intentional about the businesses that you're building. It spoke about a lot of my gifts and really basically just emphasizing that like a lot of my gifts are not like just for me, and the more I use them is the more I'm playing my part. Like, you know, when they talk about like when we were growing up, you always wondered like, who do you want to be? What's your purpose? And they'd always say like your gifts, like your talents, are gifts from God. And now I understand that like your gifts, that's what you should take time crafting, because that's how you fulfill your purpose and your part in this world. I really struggle with using this liner. And that's basically what like my cards were saying, what Spirit was telling me today is that like my gifts are not really just for me. My gifts are for me to share. I need to be working on my gifts for the collective. And for me, it makes sense because I'm an Aquarius. We are about the collective, naturally. So the fact that this reading was just saying the same thing kind of makes sense. The reading was just emphasizing that I should use my gifts the way they're coming to me. Remove the comparison. Be inspired, but that shouldn't make you want to be something you're not. You already know who you are. And that's what I've been struggling with for the past, I want to say since COVID, since like my awakening. I want to say that like a lot of the stuff I identified myself with came into question. I started questioning it. Like, is this really who I am? Is this really how I feel? Are these really my likes, my dislikes? And I think I was just meant to experience the polar opposite, so I appreciate its direct opposite. So if I know that I'm a strong personality, it got to a point where I doubted that that's a good quality. It got to a point where I would shy away from being that type of person because I felt like, I don't know, I was listening to the noise outside and I felt like people didn't appreciate that and they didn't like it. So I was like, well, maybe I shouldn't be like this. Maybe I should change. Which I think it happened because I just needed to realize. Remember back in 95 when they were happy. I swear guys, if you do YouTube, because it comes with a lot. This thing keeps on dropping. I just need to use my tripod. I need to leave this thing alone. Now I forgot what I was saying, but in a nutshell, I feel like all of that was happening for me to come back full circle and realize what I really felt about certain qualities that I have and how to then carry those qualities forward, right? Which is like where I find myself now, that like I really know that I can trust myself, trust my instincts, and trust my inner voice, honestly. Like I know that now it's not something that I just carry with me because of a second nature, but now I know who that is, I know where it's coming from, I know the intentions behind it. It's just really a great place to be and reflect. It's been quite the journey. It's been quite the journey. It's been quite the journey. But you know, we stay grateful. At all times, we stay grateful. What else did I want to share with you guys before we get into the chakra focuses and all of that? There was another like theme I actually wrote down here. I knew I was gonna forget about like letting go. Whenever I talk about change, I talk about how chaotic it is and how much you have to go through it. And I forget to mention that the go through it is having to surrender, having to let go of control, because we have, as human beings, we have a very big problem with control. We really feel like we can control so much, but like really by knowing that you don't control much, you control much. So one of the biggest themes that kind of showed up for me in this reading was letting go of old beliefs about myself, letting go of old beliefs about things and others and situations, letting go of old cycles. It was also really emphasizing on me, like, you know, like they say, romanticize certain parts, but don't over romanticize the parts that you shouldn't be over romanticizing. Like if your intuition is warning you about something and it's showing you like the signs, like, and they will show you. They're warning you about stuff you're not supposed to ignore, because the more you ignore, the more you're making it just painful for yourself. Today's episode is kind of all over the place, but we're authentic out here. We're showing our real life, and you know what I'm saying, no holds bar. Okay, cool. So we're done with the intentions for the week. We've spoken about the intentions that we're setting for this week. Now let's talk about a couple of stuff that you can journal. I try to journal as much as I possibly can. I'm not gonna lie to you guys and say I journal every night. I don't. But I did draft some questions that you can kind of use for your journaling this week. I got 4. The first one is, what version of me am I outgrowing? This has been a question that I've been asking myself quite a lot from last week. I was going to say lately, but from last week I've been asking myself that question a lot, like, what version of myself am I outgrowing? Like after pregnancy, I basically changed internally. My likes changed, my dislikes changed, and I felt like I was like in like a very isolated phase in my life where I really knew and understood what I liked, but I didn't know why. I couldn't like vouch for it because I didn't know where it was coming from. It was just an inner knowing of like what I like, what I don't like, what I'm gonna do, what I'm not gonna do, type what I'm gonna put my energy in, what I'm not gonna put my energy in. You know, that just leads to the second one. What things deserve more of my energy this week? What am I gonna dedicate my energy towards this week? And those things need to give me a result that I want, in terms of the intentions that I'm putting forth. The third question is, where do I need balance? As a person that has taken on so many things, a new business. Yeah, shout out. Motherhood. A 9 to 5. What, YouTube. My blog. Social media. Like, there's a lot going on, and I really need to continue to find balance in all of them, because I truly am the one wearing all of these hats. And this ain't even a brag, it's just like real truth. I need to find balance in making sure that I give all of them their required attention. And then the last one is, where do I need to trust myself more? And that kind of ties in with all the other journal questions that I drafted down. Very important for, like I said, all of these hats that I'm wearing. I need to be able to trust myself in everything that I say, like what I say I'm going to commit to, what I said I'm going to do, what I said I don't do, what I said I do like, what I said I don't like. All of those should come from an inner knowing. And as long as I'm not that connected with that inner knowing, it's going to kind of feel limbo, like how I felt postpartum. Let's talk about chakras. Let's talk about love, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Okay. Let's focus. I actually have some. I don't know what that is. So this week, again, we have the solar plexus again. So we're still working on our confidence. We're still working on staying intentional, staying aligned. I digress. This week's chakras is the root and the solar plexus chakra. The root wasn't intentionally last week's, but it was peeping through, which makes sense that it peeped all the way through this week. The root chakra, as I said last week, it's all about grounding, being present, your inner self, inner knowing, discipline, your security, your inner self. You know what I'm saying? Everything that exists in the 3D comes from the root chakra, especially as a woman. If you know, you know. And then the practices that I do normally for my root chakra is grounding. I like walking barefoot. There's a reason to that. It's not just for fun. It's fun, but it's not just for fun. I sit outside in the sun, do some sun gazing. That's very grounding for me. Really remembering where I come from, drinking my warm teas, especially outside, eating very well cooked meals. Oh my gosh, let's finish. I'm running out of space. King Azama's Okay, like I said, you can go put your feet down in the grass, sit either on the grass or sit on the chair, put your feet down, and sun gaze. Sometimes I have my eyes open, sometimes I don't, but that's very good. Let's move on to affirmations, so we can close this up. So we have a full video, not try to do too much and then run out of more space. I don't have any apps anymore on my phone. Okay, let's do affirmations. I trust my inner power. That's part of your identity, inner knowing. And like I was saying, knowing where your likes, dislikes, and all of these things that come up, where they're coming from. Are you connected? Are you aligned? Are you aware of that place and who that is? Do you know what I mean? I am capable of creating the life I envision. This is like, I like the theme, that like it makes so much sense, like all of them kind of marry each other. It's all like a nice flow. My consistency is changing my future.